Hello everyone, thank you for joining. It's 8:02 a.m. Pacific time and we're going to get this webinar going. So thank you for joining us for this exclusive webinar showcasing the latest advancements in MachiningCloud and the seamless integration with Esprit. Presenting today will be Christophe Fragazi, Director of Product Management and R&D, and myself, Charles Smith, Senior Technical Engineer. We also have Pierre-Francois Tavard, Account Executive and Sales, who will be helping answer any of your questions. During this webinar today, we'll be covering a quick recap of MachiningCloud and its functionalities, exploring the new features of MachiningCloud, building a multi-brand assembly ready for export to Esprit, the various methods for exporting Esprit CAN systems, discovering the integration of new MachiningCloud features within Esprit, gaining valuable insights and tips, and an interactive question and answer session at the end. So we'll start with the MachiningCloud homepage. As you can see, we set it out very similar to the Google homepage. So we have a search bar in the middle. You're also able to search through browse catalogs, where at present we have 58 different brands on here. We do actually have Polbit and Pilot Precision brands coming very, very soon, plus more on the way. You can also browse by products. So you can search through here, which I'll show a bit more later. This is our tool advisor. I'm going to touch on this very briefly. There is more videos online which will help out with this. So we have Kennametal and Widia, which are specific to those brands. And we also have the MachiningCloud one. So at present, we're still working on this. So there's some features that are coming soon. Go through for hole making. So you can select different tiles based on what you want to do. So again, this one is for hole making. You can enter machine information, turret information. You can change the material that you're cutting, the kind of hole you want, whether you want a blind or through hole, fuel point angle, and as you can see, these are already filled in from myself previously using this. There's other preferences down the bottom if you want to add more, but for the sake of this, I will continue. Because this is searching, it sometimes takes a little bit longer. There's sometimes you'll have different strategies, but for this case, we only have the one, which is a single tool, rough and finish. So I'm going to select that. So now it's calculating. It's going to look at all the different options based on the parameters that I filled in. See, this can take a little bit of time because it's going through a number of tools. Because there will be so many on here, it's going to give us the top ones. So this is based on material removal rate. And so this is the top tool for that. But as you can see, the Kennametal tops quite heavily on here. So I'm going to come down a bit further to show you that there is other brands on here, YG1, Tungaloy, Iscar. Once you've selected them, you can carry on within the app as normal. Go back to the home page. So we also have job management here. This is also the same tile just here. This is so, I'll go into this a bit further later, but this is where you can store your jobs and information for those jobs. We also have technical videos and tutorials. So if I open that up, that will bring you through to the YouTube and our YouTube page where you've got many quick videos on here, 1.5 to 2 minutes long, just to show you the different functionalities of MachiningCloud. We also have the left tile bar, so you've got your home, the job, like I say, is the same as job management. You also have my workshop here, which I'll delve into a bit deeper later on. Also have another search functionality here, the tool advisor again, which is the same as this, and also help. So you can contact us, the technical videos and tutorials, and about the MachiningCloud app here. We also have the metric inch toggle switch, our localization for the different languages. This displays the progress of your ongoing downloads. We also have notifications here, the MSC cart, which I'll touch on in a bit, and obviously your account information there. So I'm going to start, I'll show you by how to create a tooling assembly with components from various brands. So I'm going to use the browse catalogs. We're going to go hole making, drilling, indexable drills. So once we get to this stage here, what I'd like to show is the buy from MSC. So in the filters here, we can toggle to that. And down the bottom here, the miscellaneous 3D available, which we want. So I can check that and apply that filter there. So let's say I want to, we're in metric, so I'm going to go cut in diameter. Let's do 12.5. So we can see we've got 82 different variants there. And then we can search by brand as well. So if you know what brand you want, I'll just choose the top one. This brings us through. So we've got 12.5 mil indexable drills from Allied. I'm going to set this top one here. And as you can see, this brings us through to the product page of this specific part. They've got a nice lot of information in here. This information here is direct from Allied. If I just check that we go through and show you that this is the MachiningCloud information that we've offered up here. Also down the bottom, which is quite nice, we have our similar items, so similar items from different brands. We also have compatible items, collets, sleeves, etc., and also spare parts for that specific insert holder. So from here, what I'm going to show you how to do is create a new tool assembly. So we create a new tool assembly from this tab at the top, and from here we can add inserts. So go through, just select that top one here, and again it takes us through to a product page. We can add that to the tool assembly. Also, I forgot to mention, at any stage you can export any of these individual items through and into your CAD/CAM system at any stage. So as you can see, it's mounted that single insert there. We've got two different inserts for this specific holder. So we can add the other one here to the tool assembly. And you'll see that that has populated that with the two inserts. So now we can add a collet or sleeve. And as we can see, we've been brought through and to a few of the collets that we could use here. So I'm just going to use this ER collet. You can add that to the assembly also. As you can see, it's very easy to build and quick to build assemblies within MachiningCloud. As you can see, the tool and the collet mounted on there. Now we're going to add an adaptive item, but you might already have a holder in your shop that you can use, and so you might not want to use the command ones. So you can change this. You can either go to command and it will show you all the other different manufacturers that have the right connection codes for this specific assembly. I'm going to choose Nick and Lindex. Also up here, you can also change to all by brand if you'd like. So there's two different ways of doing that. So from here, pick one of these. Oh, sorry, let me just go back a second. So we do want a 3D available here, so let's just check that again. Come through and we'll select this holder. Just the I'll call it holder, and we can add that to the assembly also. So if I open up the 3D viewer here, we can see we've got this full assembly by 3 different brands, nice and ready to go for however we want to use it. So I'm going to show you the few different ways that we can use it. We can, as we can see here, feeds and speeds are available for this. So we can select that if we like at this stage, where we can change our material and we get given our feed and speeds. So the values are not recommendations from the manufacturer, so just a bit of a disclaimer there. And I'm going to touch on feeds and speeds a little bit more towards the end because we've got some nice new features with that, but I just wanted to show you how it is straight away for this specific assembly. There's also edit dimensions at this stage where, oh, hang on, sorry a minute. just go back to this one. If I highlight this and go edit dimensions, as you can see, the dimensions cannot be edited for this selective item, obviously, because this drill wants to be up against the holder. So I will show you that it will stick out if you need it to. So we can OK that. And as you can see, this indexable drill should stick out by 1 inch. Oh, no, sorry, it was a mil because I'm still in metric. There we go. Let's change that to imperial. Edit dimensions. Let's do that again. Just to make it a bit clearer for you guys. There we go. And that's stuck out a bit more. Okay, so this isn't recommended, but this will work for most of the assemblies that we have within MachiningCloud. So I'm going to go back to edit dimensions, back to default, and OK. That'll drop back inside. So you can also export this tool from here if you'd like. If you wanted to just take that tool, you've built that assembly and you want to just export it to one of our CAM partners, you can from in here. I won't do that at this stage. I'm going to hand over to Christoph later. But you can also add to. So you can add this to my tools, which I'm going to do. So it tells me it's been added within there. And so what I'm going to do from here is go to my workshop, my tools. And as you can see, that specific assembly has been added to my tools. Then from here, you can organize it however you want. As you can see, I've got different folders here. You can just drag and drop them into those specific folders. But also from here, what I can do is I can select this whole assembly. So just checking that top box for tool 1 will select this whole thing. And then I can send a copy to, and I'm going to send it to Christoph. And you can add a message if you like and send that from there. And that will go through to anyone else that's within your work group within MachiningCloud. So I can also add to here as well, and we can add it to another job. So I'm going to select that. Let me go to other, and I should add it to this test job here, and then confirm. Okay, now. So this tool will stay within, with this tool in assembly will stay within my tools. But if I go into jobs and job management, as you can see, this is the test job that I sent it to. So I'm going to select that and open. Then we can go to the tool list. As you can see, there's that tool within that tooling list. So now the assembly that we've just created here has been saved to my tools in my workshop, saved to a specific job, and sent a copy to a registered user. So from here as well, we can add this to the MSC cart. So I can select that whole assembly, can add that to the MSC cart. This is a new feature of ours because we partnered with MSC. So as you can see, there's some items not available from MachiningCloud to MSC. So what it'll do, it'll populate with everything that's available. You can check out through here. And if you have an account with MSC, you can then purchase these items through MSC itself, which we find that a lot of people are using, and it's very good little functionality of MachiningCloud as well. So the last thing I'm going to show you before I pass over to Christoph is our updated feeds and speeds. Now, we've got feeds and speeds for 80% of all the tooling for all our brands. So what I'm going to show you to start with is, let's put that, we can see milling, just solid milling. Material. And then let's just do a cutting diameter of a 1/4 inch because there's a lot of those. And then we can show, I'll just show some arch ones for instance. So if we select this, and then we go to feeds and speeds, this one specific tool, we have those feeds and speeds for this specific material, which you can change through here. you'd like to do. Update that. And also we've added this, how are these values? So if what we've actually done is if the publisher, i.e. the manufacturer of the tool, hasn't given us the data for the feeds and speeds, we actually take the data manually from the PDFs from that manufacturer. Once that's done, if there's still data missing, we use AI to fill out the gaps, basically. So these are AI generated values. You can select how good they are within your establishment and how well they worked. And that's it, really. So okay, that. I'll go back to the home page. And what I would like to do now is pass over to my colleague, Christophe Ragazzi, who will show you some of the imports into Esprit. Good to take over, Christophe.
Yep, sounds good. Yeah, I don't know how many of you have used the Esprit extension before, but I'll start with giving you a little bit of instructions on, first of all, how to set up Esprit and how to use it. So the first thing to note is that if you are using Esprit Edge 2024.1 and previous, you're going to get the extension pre-installed with your version of Esprit. So if you go to Files, Extensions, you're going to get the MachiningCloud Connect here by default. If you're using Esprit Edge 2024.2, it will not be pre-installed, so you will not see this at all. You will need to install it. To get the latest version of the extension, you need to go to a web page that is on our website, which is here. And by the way, I don't know, Charles, if we can provide this URL somehow to the people in the webinar.
Yep, that's definitely something we can do. Yep.
Okay, so maybe Pierre can do this, because you can already go ahead and try it today. Just a preview of a new version of the app that's coming up, I believe, this week. We added a button here in the extension, in the export dialog, sorry. So if you go to anywhere in the app and you click export, you're going to get the first button that you can click is a link to this page here. So that should make things easier for you to get to that URL if you need to. In this page, you have different things. The first thing, it would be a PDF that kind of explains what's available, like the release notes, and how to set up your version of Esprit. So I'll just explain what's in the PDF really here. The first thing you got to check is which version of Esprit you are using. Is it the .2 or .1? So we published the version for the .1, 2024.1, and 2024.2, even though I think if you're using the .1 in .2, it works, but the other way around doesn't work from our testing. So hopefully you are using these versions here. We provide two versions, one with an installer, one with just a zip. So it's kind of up to you. If you're familiar with using extensions in Esprit, you might as well just use the manual update. In my opinion, it's just as easy as the installer. You would download the zip file here, and you would unzip it wherever you installed Esprit Edge. So it would be, in my case, I use the default installer folder, DC, program files, Hexagon, Esprit Edge, Prog, extensions, and you would just simply unzip your MachiningCloud file that you got from our page right here. You need to do this with Esprit shut down. You unzip it here, start Esprit, and hopefully you should get the button showing up under the tooling tab. And if you don't see it, I guess the first thing to check, but I've never seen it not actually work on the first try. But maybe you'll, in case you run into the problem, the first thing to check is that it shows up here. And the installer would work kind of the same. It's just you push a button and you go into an install process. Like I said, if you are familiar with using extension in Esprit Edge, I mean, you do whatever you prefer. I prefer just copy paste the folder, and that's it. The version I have on that we have on oh, by the way, Pierre, I don't see the version 4 here. We should be on version 4. You can look at that because I published it on. Maybe you guys didn't push it to prod.
Yeah, it will be.
Okay.
It will be active today, later in the day.
Okay, so I would say just wait till you see the 0004 today, and well, you can use the 3, but with the 4, we actually push the more changes. Okay, so let's go back to in prod. That doesn't matter. I just want to go to. Oh, you sent me a file, I think. Yeah, here. Is that what you sent me? Oh no, I sent it to myself yesterday. You sent me stuff yesterday, Charles. I mean, a different account, doesn't matter. So if I was using the account that Charles sent me the job to, I would see his job here under my received job, and I would be able to find whatever he sent me. Whatever he sent me, I've already exported, but I'll show you how you would do this. So for example, you can grab, you can export from the job management, you can export from the job information, you can export individual assemblies from here, for example, export. You can even export from when editing an assembly, for example. And you can export even browsing through products. So if you just want that one item, for example, you would export. The one thing I want to make sure that you all understand is that to export to Esprit TNG, you need to use the Esprit export button. We've had people in the past reporting issues when they go into the custom export. They pick the MachiningCloud export. They would pick, for example, the 3D anti-collision model here and select 3D live GDML. And I know that you guys probably know that for Esprit Edge, you need GDML files. But the GDML files that you get here are not going to be used by the extension as an import. There are different reasons to that, but what we do really, when we export to Esprit Edge, we export individual items in step formats with the 2D profile, and we package everything. The extension does the conversion from step to GDML. And the reason why we do that is because it's all about translating ISO 13399 data into the Esprit Edge convention. And it's not always easy to do, and it's way more flexible if we handle this at the extension level. And it allows us to quickly fix issues if we find some and publish improvements very quickly. So you would, if I went here and I will export to Esprit. I've already exported a few items from yesterday. Let's see what, just for the sake of showing what happens there, I'm going to go and click to export to Esprit. But in Esprit, and oh, by the way, I just want to make sure that you guys are aware that I'm going to import tools that may make no sense into a job. I'm importing tools just for showing the process and showing how tools get imported. I like to use this turret like this because the tools get mounted straight on the station, and it makes it super fast to actually look at all the tools at once. Again, in the sense of using my examples for a programming report, it will make really no sense at all. Okay, I exported this. You would go here. You get a notification when it's ready. At that point, you can go and download file. When you download file, you get the file for sure. But you also get this, and I'll go over this in a moment, but basically we want you to let us know if you were successful with importing that assembly or not. If you tell us no, then we'll look into what happened and why it actually did not work. All right, so I'm gonna go here, and let me go to my notes and make sure I covered everything. All right, fine. I'm gonna go here. First thing you get, so the very first time you click on that button, you are asked to browse for a zip file of what you want to import. So I put my files here, and I'm going to import a meeting. So like I said, there's a lot of different tools that for sure will make no sense into to import in the distart. I'm going to do it anyways. On the left side, you're gonna see all the tools that are in the package. Here, you are going to get some information about the tool. The ID of the tool, to be honest, means not much. The assembly, it's an internal ID. The name of the tool is the name that you actually typed in MachiningCloud. And here you are going to see the default feeds and speeds that, well, the default feeds and speeds, not necessarily. If you actually went into the feeds and speed dialog, set up feeds and speeds, clicked OK, then you would get the feeds and speeds from that dialog at that moment. And I'm going to go over that in a moment as well. On the second tab, you are going to see what makes up this assembly. So you see, for example, for this one, I have 3 items. I have the adapter, the tool, and the insert. And it tells you what ISO properties it got from each item. So you can go here, look at what's in there. Just for your information, really. And but if you really care about looking at what's in the ISO convention, that's what we get. The import validation will tell you what Esprit needs and what it was able to get or not get. So it's going to tell you, for example, the tool diameter that they need. They found that the value was 21 and they were using these ISO properties. In some other cases, they're going to tell you here that I'm going to go into, okay, for example, here, the bottom radius is 0. So that's going to be a generic thing that I'm going to show you. ISO likes to not even provide a corner radius when the corner radius is 0, but Esprit doesn't like not having a corner radius, so it's going to complain that it's not there, warn you that it defaulted it to 0, and so you're going to have to just verify that things are correct. In this case here, it complains that the anti-collision model for an item was not found, and it's using the rendering model itself instead. So I'm going to go over some of the warnings. Generally speaking, what I'm going to tell you is, at first, just ignore the warnings and click send to Esprit, give it a shot, and see what happens there. And then we can go over these, but most of the time, when I'll make sure that it's clear. Let's go here. The difference between rendered and anti-collision is this. So if I go here, that is the rendered, that is the anti-collision. For milling tools, Esprit likes to get the anti-collision. For turning tools, it likes to get the rendered model. If it's not, sometimes we only have one or the other. And so in this case here, for example, it complains that the anti-collision is missing, so it used the rendered. Well, as you'll see in a moment, it actually doesn't hurt at all. So it's just a warning there. But like I said, just don't pay too much attention to the warning at first and just give it a shot and you'll see. For the option, so I added an option here recently from somebody's request. It is to mount the tool on the first available station. It is indeed quite handy because if you use this in the past, then every tool that you import would be unmounted. And the first thing you would have to do is go and drag and drop each tool into the station you want to mount it, which is sometimes a bit annoying. So what I have here is I like to, well, by default I check it, but you can uncheck it if you want to go back to the previous behavior. But if you want to mount it on, like I said here, the first available station, so it's mounted, you can do so. You are going to get into some of these cases here where if a tool does not import properly, you can always give it a shot by importing it as custom tool. The custom tool would be the custom tool, for example, here, custom mill. And instead of trying to reproduce the shape using parametrical data, it's going to use the profile of the cutter to create it. So you always have this, and I'll show you in a moment. I don't like it too much when the extension does it without you actually checking something, but I'll go over this in a moment. And you can also force it to use a manual import. So for example, if you don't like the fact that the extension mapped this into a certain type of tool, you can always say, okay, you know what, I don't want this to be a, I don't know what it's going to map it to, but probably a face mill. But let's say, well, you want it to map it to something else. Let's say a bowl, you could force it to do this. But like I said earlier, I think the first thing you try to do is just to give it a shot and send to Esprit. So it's loading the tools. Gives you this pretty nice animation. Again, I know it's nonsense to have these tools like this. It's just, for me, it just is a quick and easy way to look at all the tools. All right, so here you have some of the warnings, but the warnings are basically the ones you got from the dialog here. It's gonna repeat. So this one is about an angle that was not found and defaulted. These are the corner radius that it didn't like the fact that it was not provided, even though it's actually correct. It's a square end. And we can look at the tools here. So let me hide the machine to make it easier. And I can kind of make the turret. Okay, here. It hides everything. That's fine, I guess. All right, we can look at these tools. And I quickly go through. I can check, make sure that everything looks correct. You can go into all the warnings and make sure that everything is proper. But here's the example where it actually used the rendered model instead of the anti-collision. So as you can tell, it's not that big of a deal, the fact that it's used the rendered instead of the anti-collision. All right, here is a spool slot, and I don't think I have cases here of customs. I think I have for other tools. But yeah, pretty simple. Everything got imported. And I'm going to, let's see. I don't know if it's going to work with this part. You know what? Okay, I'm going to go into this plot here, actually. I think this is these are the, I'm going to delete everything to make things easier. These are the samples that you get when you install Esprit. To make it quicker, I'm going to only load this one tool here, here, feature, here, milling, bucketing. And what I want to show you is that when you select, that's the best example. When you select the tool here, it sets the feeds and speeds based on what was in the dialog when you save the tool. So if I go to go here. I think that's the job I used. It's probably this one. So here we go. It used whatever was saved here. So 175 for the VC, the cutting speed. So it loads whatever you saved at that moment. I'll show you in a moment how we plan on improving this. So that's it for meaning. The other thing I want to show you is because I know that you guys are going to run into issues, and I think I have a few issues in this job here. That's drill. I'm going to import it. I tend to see more issues with drills, and I'll explain why in a second. Example. I want to show you how you can actually recover from this. Okay, here you go. That would be one. Here's the little gap. So if you used the previous versions of Esprit, you would tend to see these a lot more. I've already fixed quite a bit of these things. And you tend to see these gaps and sometimes a little overlaps. Let's see if I can find, okay, this one has a little overlap. So it used to be that this was way more pronounced, and that was due to the way that the tool was mapped, the ISO properties. What happens here is that in reality, the shape of the tip from the real tool is almost never a perfect cone like this. It's a more complex shape than just a triangle, basically. And so the point length here that the manufacturer provides never really equals the math for what you get when you type the tip angle. ISO excludes the tip. So the reference point for ISO is at the corner right here. For Esprit, it's down there. The little gap that you get here is the error that comes from the point length. You can always go and try to fix it yourself if you really wanted to. Like, for example, I guess the overall length would be a tiny bit longer by almost nothing. If you're really picky, you can go and try to make it like this. I don't think it makes any difference, but that's it. I think it helps to understand how the Esprit tools are created. They are always created bottom to top. It always starts from the control point, builds up, and what we are doing here is reusing everything, all the shapes that come from MachiningCloud, except for what you see in yellow. What you see in yellow, the part from MachiningCloud is removed. So if I go, for example, it's not the same tool, but works for my illustration. Esprit will get rid of the yellow part coming from MachiningCloud and replace it by its own. You can always, and try to show you an example here. If something goes wrong and that the tool didn't work, you can always delete the tool right here and create it yourself. So the tool was 66, I think, in length or something like that. 66. You can tool length, cutting length, 25 or something like this. The tip angle, I don't know, let's put maybe just as an illustration. You can always reuse everything that we provided and fix it yourself if something went wrong. It still saves you a lot of time, and it still gives you a very accurate geometry for everything else, for collision detection and everything. So I want to make that perfectly clear. The other change that we made compared to previous versions of the extension that you may have, the 0 now is coming from the back of the tool, which was not the case before. So for example, in previous version of Esprit, it was using the 0 as the MCS location. The MCS is the mounting point from the machine side. Was using this as 0. So the dimension that you needed to type as your overall length for the tool was not the overall length from the tool, but whatever was sticking out for that particular tool. It made things a bit harder to figure out what values you needed to type here. Now it's much easier. It's the back of the tool. The tool is now using the back of the tool as 0, and it's clamping, like it's translating along Z by the clamping length that is actually coming from the app. So if you go, I don't know if this one is editable. Yeah, it is. So if you set a particular clamping length, it is going to create the GDML assembly and translates it by the clamping length that you decided to use. So that should make things much, much easier. All right, so that is it for drilling. I think I had cases for tapping, but really it's the same thing. What I want to show is the main change that we did in the extension. It's about turning. So if I go, I'm going to load a turning part. All right, so turning, we added support for turning. So there are different cases of turning, as you know. The one that we support very well now is everything that is, well, the ISO calls it ISO turning. That's what you get here. But I'll go over the grooving and top notch and lay down in a bit. But if I go here, I'm going to actually load this one. Again, it's a set of enough nonsense tools, but that are going to show you a lot of different cases. Like, looks like my computer froze. Can you still hear me, Charles?
Yep.
Okay, so it looks like, so give me a sec. It looks like my computer froze somehow. Okay, I don't know, it came back. All right, I'm going to send this to Esprit. And this job, like I said earlier, is just a combination of many different cases that we tested from different types of inserts, different brands, different assemblies, etc. Here, and as you can tell, maybe I'm going to hide the machine. And tell from here, everything loads up properly. It's the right insert at the right location with the right orientation. Different types of inserts I think I have here. That's a trigon. That is a rhombic insert, etc. The one thing that is not solvable is the fact that the Esprit insert will always mount straight, and it will never have that rake angle that is in the true insert, but you probably know that already. For these adapters here, we needed to create an adapter for the left and right. So in this case, you can go and see. I'm using I'm drag and dropping a tool I hadn't mounted. Okay, here. So the Esprit has this convention where you need two adapters for the left and right hand tool. This is just an illustration that this adapter here actually has both. So I could go, for example, and delete that tool that I have here and drag and drop this on my left hand, and it would still work. So you can reuse that adapter for something else. So that is it for regular ISO turning, and I think it works really well. It's really solid. I'm just going to skip the other ones. It's not that interesting. It's just a bunch of tools. What we did in version 4, and that's why I want to make sure that you guys make it the version 4, is for grooving and other types of tools. I added a little bit of support that I think makes things a little easier. When you get when you have grooving tools and other types of turnings, you're going to be granted with this message, and it's going to tell you it cannot fully convert. And actually, it's not necessarily true. I can do still a bunch of stuff, but yeah, you still get the warning that tells you be careful because basically it's not fully supported yet. However, what I did is I'm gonna load the tool, and I'm going to try to do my best mapping to the right type of tool and mapping the insert and put it in the best position I can find. And as you'll see in a moment that some tools don't work well, some tools do. And I'm going to show you how you can correct when it's not working well. So that's a regular ISO turning, it works well. That's a lay down insert that actually worked perfect. That is a grooving insert that actually worked perfect. This one is a regular turning that you'd expect it to work fine. This one didn't work perfect. However, it is simply because I do not have the length of the insert here. The length of the insert is not 20, which is my default, but I think it's something like 7 or maybe 15 or something like that. But it's actually working pretty well. Then you're going to get all the cases. This one is fine. This one is fine. There's one where the insert is floating in the air. So it's this one is floating in the air. There's a problem in our data that we need to fix, but that's actually very easy to fix. There's no component along the y-axis, so what you got to go here and set the tool shift to actually 0, and boom, it is fixed. So even though officially we do not support these tools, well, we still are able to bring the tools in, and I think save you a lot of times regardless. Still very useful. All right. I wanted to go through also what's happening when you import a tool like this. So the extension will create the GDMLs, and the GDMLs are in your folder. So if you go to where you decided to put all your files, it's going to go, in my case, it's the default. It's going to be the Esprit TNG, well, probably should be Esprit Edge now, but data holders, and it's going to go into a MachiningCloud holder location. And this is grouped by jobs. So that's the idea of the job. That is something the extension does by default. I'm not sure it's the best approach. I'll wait for user feedbacks to see if we need to change this. Maybe you would rather have the GDML sorted by type, by brand, or I don't know. Again, I'm waiting for your feedback to let me know. But if all the GDMLs for that import are here, and you can, of course, reuse them for all the jobs separately if you want in the future. Quickly, again, about the warnings. So probably have warnings here. I mentioned it. I always encourage you to, even if you get the warning, give it a shot, see what's actually happening. Always verify the data, even when it works. But chances are it might actually work. If it doesn't work, like I showed you, you can always go and fix the problem, usually manually, pretty easily. And I wanted to also, and I think that's the last thing I really want to show, is that maybe a bit of confusion we get from some users. It has to do with, especially here, I think it's a good example. That's a list thread. You need a thread block. If you go in MachiningCloud and you go to browse catalogs. You are going to get a 3D Live catalog here. The 3D Live catalog are a lot of GDML files that Hexagon actually published on MachiningCloud. So you could go here, look for this unit here, and in this case, if you want to use one of these files, what you should not do, and I know it's a bit confusing, and we are actually fixing this in the next version of the app to make sure that it's less confusing. Do not export to Esprit. This is a GDML. So you can go here and play with it. It is a GDML file. What you can do is simply download. You're going to download the GDML, and you're going to get the GDML in Esprit. You can go add adaptive item to my download, load this file, fit on that station here. Here it is. Now separately, you can create an assembly, which I've done before to save some time. I think that's the assembly you sent me, Charles. I think it's one of these. Let's see. Oops. Yeah, there we go. And I'm going to send to the loading this tool. I'm going to load this here. So it seems to be working well, and I think it's a good illustration, this case here, to show you the difference between that's my assembly here. I'm going to look at 587330. That's my collet. It's an adapter. So Esprit uses the very tip as the mounting point. ISO defines collets where the mounting point is right here at 11.66 from the tip. In this case, you need to go into your collet and translate it by 11.66 to make it perfectly flush. All right, and so in this case, I was able to get the unit and the tool assembly here. But again, if you want to use the files that are in the 3D Live catalog, you don't have to export. You can just download and use it straight in your in Esprit, because we already have the file as GDML with everything configured properly. All right. Lastly, I think I'm going to go. I have 5 minutes, Charles. If I have 5 minutes, I'm going to skip the.
Yeah, 5 minutes, please.
All right. Okay, so let's do this. I want to show you something that you will not have with the version that you can get later today, or the extension. But that we are working on, and we are working on providing this very, very soon. By very soon, I mean in the next few weeks, I believe. Delete. Can I delete all this? Fine. Okay. I'm going to go back to tooling, and I'm going to import a tool. I'm going to go back to my document here. And now I'm going to just go and take the first one, send it here. All right. So this tool is coming from MachiningCloud. This tool right here. And I'm going to go here, go to Milling, Program Pocket. So with this version that I have, again, that you don't have right now, you are going to see eventually this button right here. This button identifies that we know what this tool is, and you can click here, and what it's going to do is going to load our feeds and speeds dialog directly here. It's loading my page. Okay, so now I have my feeds and speeds. I can do whatever I want. Let's set it to 200. I'm going to close the dialog. Here it tells me, because I'm using a Pocket, it's going to ask me, do you want to use that for the rough or something else? I'm going to click OK. Should have got that tab first. But then here it loads the feeds and speed directly. So what we want to do is allow you to go and access our feeds and speeds directly into Esprit without even having to go back to MachiningCloud and do an export job. And so again, that's something that we are working on. The only reason why I disabled it in the version that you have is that our current dialog here doesn't have a validation button. So even if you don't want this, let's say you don't want this and you close, I still actually load it. I want to make sure that I give you a chance not to load it if you don't want to. And that's really the reason why it's off, but it's coming up in the next few weeks. And if I have 2 minutes, I'll just explain the concept of the second button that you see here. The second button here is when you want to use the tool advisor for a particular feature. So you can go, and in this case here, click on Pocket, and I can click Send to MachiningCloud. And I'm going to go on. I already have it, but regardless, I'll save it. It saves an XML of the information from that Pocket. In MachiningCloud, you can go into your job, you can go to your features, and you can do import from file. From import from file, you can go and download this XML that's coming from Esprit. It's going to create that Pocket from Esprit. You can go and I double click, but you can go edit, and it presets the Pocket with the information from Esprit. From here, you can go run tool advisor, find the tool that you think works the best for your feature. Come up with a recommendation for rough and finish. There you go, and then you can, in this case, add this to your job, finish the assembly, export to to Esprit, import it in Esprit, and be done. So that is what this button is for. It's just to save you time when you want to use Tool Advisor, so you don't have to figure out all the dimensions that you need to type in. All right, that's pretty much it. Just quickly on what to do next, where we're going to go with this. It's really going to be based on user feedback. So please do not hesitate to send us issues you're running into and what you would like to see being improved. If you want us to go and spend more time improving the grooving, for example, versus working on drilling, vice versa, please let us know, because there's still a lot to do, and we are really going to be working on whatever you guys need, and it's going to be based on what you tell us.
So based on that, well, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you very much, Christophe, for that presentation. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for your time today, and goodbye.